Welcome to Makeup and Monarchies. If you're new here, my name is Tiffany. I am a hairstylist, cosmetologist, makeup artist, blah, 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 and a lover of medieval UK history. This week, we are talking about Jane Seymour. This is part of my Henry VIII series, and we're going to talk about wife number 3. If you have not subscribed yet, please subscribe. It really helps me with like the algorithm, and I'm growing on YouTube, and that is fantastic, and that's the goal, right? Also, if you could comment below, if you watch this, just put a crown in the comments just to let me know that you watched it. I will be doing my makeup. We're doing a simple look today on my eyes because I did a red lip. I did like a shiny red lip today. So I think that's it. With that being said, let's get into it. Hello. So we're gonna talk Jane Seymour today. Jane was born in probably around 1508 in Wolf Hall in Wiltshire, England. She was the daughter of Sir John Seymour and Margaret Wentworth. It's been suggested that she could have been born in Westbower Manor. Excuse my hair today. I don't know why we're doing the flyaways. Manor in Somerset, but her exact birth date isn't known. It was through her maternal grandfather that she was a dependent of Edward III through his son Lionel of Antwerp, Duke of Clarence. Jane was one of 10 children born to her parents. She had 6 older brothers and 3 younger sisters, 2 of which passed when they were young. So she was smack dab in the middle of all those children. Can you imagine having that many kids? So I tend to wonder if Henry saw that and was like, I need that in my life ASAP. So Jane wasn't highly educated like we saw with Catherine of Aragon and the other one, Anne Boleyn, just because of her status. She wasn't as high up, I guess you would say. She could read and write a little, but was far better at needlework and household management. It's reported that her needlework was beautiful and elaborate. Some survived as late as 1652. In 1532, or as early as 1527, she became maid of honor to Catherine of Aragon, then served Queen Anne Boleyn alongside her sister Elizabeth. It was recorded that in February of 36 that Henry started to notice her and kind of pay her some attention. So the rumor about Anne catching Henry with Jane to me is a bit far-fetched. I don't think that happened. And her losing the baby due to catching them together, I'm not quite sure that I buy that. Jane was had a very gentle nature to her. She had a peaceful, calm, serene personality and was called gentle a lady as I ever knew by Minister John Russell. Eustace Chapuis called her the Pacific for making peace at court. She was we know Anne Boleyn wasn't well liked at court by the commoners and some of the courtiers, but Jane was almost a breath of fresh air for them because she was likable and kind. Chapuis also said she was of middling stature, so ordinary or average height, and very pale. He also said she wasn't much of a beauty, but Russell said she was the fairest of all the king's wives. She was almost the exact opposite of Anne, because Anne had dark brown hair and brown eyes. And then along comes Jane having fair features. The portraits of her, it looks almost reddish. So I wonder if she was like a strawberry blonde and blue-eyed with fair skin. It's also said that she had charm and character and appearance. She was also known as meek, gentle, simple, and chaste. So, girl next door, if you will. Jane and Henry became betrothed on May 20th of 1536. I know sometimes I refer to him like we do now, 23 or 20. I did a tan last night using my U-tan tone. And I got the bergamot scent this time. And I had the almond cherry last time. I love love the bergamot. It's so nice. Anyways, getting back to it. I'm just gonna go in and like blend this out. So I'm doing like a simple eye look today because I want to do red lips. So we're gonna go simple. And so as I was saying, that in 36 they were May 20th, 36 they were betrothed. This was a day after Anne Boleyn was executed. They got married 10 days later on the 30th at the Palace of Whitehall in London. What did I want? I wanted something. I think I wanted just a little bit deeper in the, I don't know what color we're going to use. We're going to use corduroy today. This is an old one from Matt. So they were married there in the Queen's closet by Bishop Gardiner, supposedly in the closet. But not like, it's not like a closet like what we have today. It's more of like a room that was in her quarters. I just want a little bit deeper in there. Like I said in my previous Henry episode, he gave her 104 manors in 4 counties, forest and hunting chases as a wedding gift. This was so that she could use the rent off the properties as her income while she was married to Henry. So not a bad deal. Jane was publicly proclaimed queen on June 4th, and her public sympathy towards Catherine of Aragon and her now stepdaughter Mary made her popular with the commoners and courtiers because of the plague that swept through London at the time. So because of the plague, I was saying, that swept through London at the time, she was never crowned queen or had a coronation. It could have also been Henry not wanting to give her a coronation yet because he wanted to wait until she did her duty and gave him a son to prove that she was going to hold up her end of the deal. Because after he'd given Anne this enormous coronation, it didn't, we all know how that ended. Not well. So Jane developed a close relationship with her stepdaughter Mary. What am I looking for? I'm gonna give my eyes a second because they're watering, and please excuse these flyaways that I have today. So life as queen, she was known to be strict and formal. Her motto was bound to obey and serve. She had a strict decorum when it came to holding court, and she banned the French fashion Anne had brought in. It seems as though she was conservative, not in the sense that we know now though. It was a little bit different back then. I guess I didn't need to pump any foundation. Actually, I do. Just kidding. It was very she streamlined things where Anne had, 250 people in her, not privy chamber, but that aided her and worked for her. It was more streamlined with Jane. Her only involvement in politics was when she asked for pardons for those who participated in the Pilgrimage of Grace. Supposedly, Henry did say no, but supposedly he reminded her what happened to Anne. I don't know if I believe that, but who knows? It's probably utter bullshit, but it's fine. Anne developed a close relationship with her stepdaughter Mary and tried to restore her to be in the line of succession. This would only be after any children that Jane had with Henry. This subject came up before and after her becoming queen, but she unfortunately wasn't able to restore Mary to the line of succession. But she did accomplish a relationship between Henry and Mary because it had been strained. So Mary was about 20 at this time. In one of his many letters to Charles V, Chapuis wrote about her compassion and effort on behalf of Mary and her return to court. Now remember, Charles V would have been her cousin because it was the nephew of Catherine of Aragon. There is a letter from Mary that shows her gratitude towards Jane. So it's possible that she got pregnant and miscarried around Christmas of 36, but in January of 37, she definitely got pregnant. In this pregnancy, she craved quail, and Henry brought them in from Calais and Flanders. In the summer of 37, she didn't take any public engagements and held a quiet life. She was attended to by the royal physicians and the best midwives in the country. She went into confinement at Hampton Court Palace in September of 37. The only people that were with her were her ladies and the midwife. Only if something went wrong would a male physician come in. So Jane went into labor on October 9th. Jane was still in labor on the 11th. God damn. And there were processions in London. Pray for the Queen, because that's a long time. I'm sorry. That sucks. After 50 hours, fucking kill me, she gave birth to a baby boy on October 12th. The baby's name was Edward, and both parents were delighted. It's likely that he was named after Henry's grandfather and uncle, both Edward the Fourth as his grandfather and Edward the Fifth, his uncle. It could have been also or Elizabeth's brother, named after Elizabeth's brother. That was an Edward too. They were both their brothers turned out to be dirtbags, but I digress. It's rumored Jane had a C-section, but nothing official has stated this. She was well enough after the birth to write a letter, to write letters, including one to Thomas Cromwell. I am gonna jump off quickly and do my liner. My bead finally came in. I will be right back. So Edward was christened several days after his birth at Hampton Court Palace. Oh, I panicked there. I thought this was my mascara. That would have been something. Oh, to look like Groucho Marx. It was a grand christening with a 2,000 gun salute from the Tower of London. The whole country was celebrating with hanging garland outside of their houses and holding banquets. I do question that because at the time, obviously, there was not like mail like we have now. So this was a few days after. I can't imagine the entire country. I mean, it would take by horseback to get some spots in England. I'm sure more days than that. Whatever. Do you care what I think? Following the christening, Jane became very ill. October 23rd, Henry went to her and sat by her side after he was told she wasn't going to survive and she was read her last rite. On October 24th, Jane passed away. Her death was either from... I need to get a new one of these. I love these though. Her death was either from retained placenta or childbed fever. It's been said as well that it could have been a pulmonary embolism, which is a blood clot that stops blood flow to an artery in the lungs. Jane was buried in St. George's Chapel in Windsor Castle on November 12th. Mary, her stepdaughter, acted as the chief mourner, and following her were 29 mourners, one for every year of Jane's life. That's so sad. Jane was the only wife of Henry's to get a queen's funeral. Following her death, Henry wore black for 3 months. His health rapidly declined while he was a widower. Remember, his mother died shortly after she had her last baby, and Elizabeth of York, and she died from childbed fever. And from that, we know that this was one of Henry's biggest fears. I don't think he ever recovered from Jane's death, and it was part of like why he was so awful, like his attitude and, you know, being known for being a tyrant. There's also another reason, but we're going to talk about that in my last Henry episode, because there's like medical stuff behind it that they've, you know, now having the, you know, modern medicine, that they kind of think why he was the way he was. Anyways, getting back to Jane. Jane left a slew of siblings, but 2 of her brothers, Thomas and Edward, used her status to further themselves at court. Dirtbag. We'll get to their dirtbag moves in another episode down the line. So spoiler alert, I guess. When Henry died, he was buried at St. George's Chapel alongside Jane. I personally have walked over that. I'm sure some of you may have as well. I'm gonna apologize if you hear creaking. It's my fucking house. It's like 40-mile-an-hour winds right now. This is craziness. I'm so tired of the wind. Anyways, I've walked over that and it's very like overwhelming, and I cried. I did want to say a few things about Jane. She may have been thought to be like meek and mild, but honestly, I think she's underestimated. I think she knew exactly what the game was, and she knew how to play it, and she did it well, because all we know of her, or what is recorded, is she's very like quiet and, you know, girl next door, but she played that game, and she's probably my favorite one. one out of all 6. I would love to have seen how her like queen consort reign or tenure or whatever, her like time as queen consort would have gone if she had not died, because I think she would have done amazing. I'm just gonna go in with Skin Dew a little bit in the corners. I like to bring it up sometimes just to open up the eyes, and I was debating on doing lashes today, but I don't know why. Like, I've worn lashes for years. Just gonna blend that out a little bit. I've worn lashes for years, and I've always like loved them. Recently, I don't know, I'm liking the non-lash look, just like softer looking, I guess. I was told I look younger too, which like made my day. All right, I'm going to jump off. I'm going to do the rest of my eyeliner and then my lips, and I will walk you through that, and we're gonna do fun facts in 1 second. Okay, I'm back. So I did the Muse Modern Lip Definer in Muse. Oh my god. I use Vive Modern Lip Definer in Muse. Oh, it's a hard one today, huh? And then I use the Muse, same company, but Vive Muse lipstick. And then I'm gonna go in with the Lip Dew in the original. Is that what she calls it? I think it's called original. So I'm just gonna like pump some out. Oh god. And put it on my hand, because I'm gonna use I just don't want to get this applicator all gunky with red lipstick. Oh shit, there we go. So I'm gonna use what's this called? A rock. Oh, I like this a lot. Yes, you're gonna mess up your hands, but I'm gonna use makeup remover on them right after. That's probably a really good there we go. This is a good Christmas look. So I just have a spot over here I'm trying to blend out. I'm gonna go in with a little bit of concealer just to clean that line up. Okay, so fun facts for Jane Seymour. She and Henry were 5th cousins. There we go. So if you mess up your red lipstick, use a concealer to clean it up. Don't try to use your fingers. Don't try to, like, it'll turn into a mess. So I just used a concealer, and I just pulled the concealer out, and now it's blended in. And then I will go in with a little bit of the powder just to kind of set that so it doesn't move too much. Jane and Anne Boleyn were 2nd cousins. After her death, Henry, I'm just using the same brush because it's really like it's a precise lip line brush from Sigma. After her death, Henry became an enthusiastic embroiderer. I think that's so cute. Jane was a devout Catholic. She may have been quiet and meek, but she wasn't naive. And like I said earlier, she just knew how to play the game. She may have been Henry's favorite, or whatever his favorite could have been. I think that's a really hard call to make, because she probably was his favorite because she actually had a boy and did what he wanted. But I also think that she may have been, like, even for him, a breath of fresh air after the whole Anne Boleyn stuff. She could have been. She could have been his favorite because she had a kind nature and, was a nice person. Maybe she even reminded Henry of Catherine, possibly. I'm speculating. So that's it for this episode. This was a quick one. I know last week was lengthy. You do not have to tell me twice because I'm the one who edited that, and that was me a while. So I hope you enjoyed this episode on Jane Seymour. She is my favorite queen of Henry VIII. Everything I listed is down, or everything I used is going to be listed down below. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. I would greatly appreciate that. And per usual, you can find me on Instagram. I post there every day. I do an on this day, like there was something big that happened in history, or somebody was born, or somebody died, or I'm trying to like get into a little bit of like Alfred the Great era, so we'll probably get there at some point. So again, that was it. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you next week. Next week we're doing Anne of Cleves, so that may be a short one too. She's interesting, and I think she knew how to play the game too. I will see you in the next one, guys. Thanks. Bye.